Finding Elizabeth Johnson guilty, but not on the most serious charges against her. Good evening, I'm Steve Irvin.
And I'm Connie Cola, in for Katie Rammel tonight. Thanks for choosing ABC 15 News at 6. Corey Rangel has been following Elizabeth Johnson's trial since the very beginning.
And he's joining us live with details on this downtown. Corey, you've been in the courtroom for a lot of this trial. What was it like there when the jury read its verdict?
Steve, I can tell you Elizabeth Johnson looked at her attorney. They both smiled at each other. That really gave you an idea of how they were feeling. I talked with Mark Victor, Johnson's attorney in court. He said this was basically the best outcome they could have reasonably hoped for. And joining me now is Johnson's legal team here, Mark Victor and Charity Clark. And first, just tell me, how did Elizabeth Johnson react to this? What did she say to you afterwards?
She was very, very happy. I mean, how could she not be? I mean, that was the goal of our defense, was to attack the kidnapping charge, and that's really all we were talking about in the closing. It was really probably 90% of my closing argument, and so we got exactly what we wanted. It's a huge victory for Elizabeth. It's a huge victory for the defense team, and it's, I think, a huge vindication of our jury system. I was very impressed that they were able to put aside the emotion of the case, to put aside the irrelevant issues and focus on the elements of the crimes. And as I said to them in really in opening and in closing, that if they could do that, I thought that we would beat the kidnapping charge, and we did, and we're obviously thrilled about it.
Now, you have taken a little bit of heat. You did very little cross-examining. You called no witnesses, and at one point you even told the jury she was guilty of the custodial interference charge. But that was your plan the whole time.
I'm not afraid of heat. Heat doesn't bother me. That's just life in the big city. You know, this is it's a major league case, and people have their opinions. And my team, Charity included, and Scott Campbell, who's another lawyer who worked on the case at the beginning, we spent time devising our theory, and that was our plan. And we came up with we stuck to our plan throughout the case. And you know, Elizabeth was concerned. It's an out-of-the-box type of a strategy, but it's what was called for in this case, and it shows now that's what paid off. And so I like the fact that we were criticized about it. I like the fact that people didn't agree with what we were doing. Even experts across the nation looked at our case and said, what are they doing? And we just bit our tongue because we knew exactly what we were doing, and the jury appreciated that, and I think there's no doubt it paid off at the end of the day.
So she was found guilty of custodial interference and conspiracy to commit custodial interference, as well as unlawful imprisonment. Now, you think that she could walk?
I think if the judge does consistently with what he did in the Tammy Smith case, then he will strike the state's motion to try to they filed what I would call is a sort of sentencing enhancement to say that these are really three separate crimes committed on a separate occasion, but they're really all part of the same transaction. I think the judge will see that. I think he'll strike that. And she will then be probation eligible on all three. And so if he acts consistently with the way he acted in the Tammy Smith case, she will get probation. Whether we accept probation or not is another question, because she will have served more than the presumptive term on each of the crimes. And so it's something that Charity and I will talk about, and we'll talk to Elizabeth about, and we'll make a decision in terms of what our position is on that at the end. But I think that, frankly, I'm a little disappointed that the judge didn't change release conditions today and just cut her loose today, OR. But in fairness, the state gets 10 days to respond, and so we couldn't have filed it before today, and so the state will have their 10 days to respond, and we'll come back in and make our case for an OR release.
All right, thank you, Mark Victor, Charity Clark, thank you for your time. And the judge did set a hearing for November 1st. Well, we'll get a little more answers as far as when Elizabeth Johnson may or may not walk. Also, tonight at 10, we'll hear from baby Gabriel's grandfather about his reaction to today's verdict.
Yeah, there's still so many questions about where the child is, and we may never know. Thanks, Corey.